We're going to begin the meeting. If everybody would please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clifford Buffalo.
Here.
Joanne Kell.
Here.
John Horn. Alan Shiner.
Here.
Sam Spada.
Here.
Vivian Welton.
Here.
Juan Rosales.
Here.
Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? Any comments or corrections?
I have one comment, it's a small thing, but under Monet, I know that Cliff did not make a motion. He asked for a motion, and I said so moved, but I don't remember who seconded me.
Okay.
I'm not sure what we do with that, Olivia.
So I'll make a note of it.
No, I just never make motions.
Oh, maybe it would be the second, do you want a second?
No,
No,
I always request a motion. I've never,
Oh, okay,
as chair.
yeah.
Beyond that, once Olivia sorts out the change, anything else?
No.
No, that's good.
All right, I'll take a motion to approve the rest of the minutes with that one correction.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Everyone have that letter from the ZBA regarding leeway?
It's in your communications folder.
I read it,
That's why we're
What are we doing now?
reading the letter from the DBA.
I read it.
Here we go. RE interpretation leeway motel accessory use application for accessory wedding venue tent. Dear Chairman Rebuffo and planning board members, the zoning board of appeals cannot hear an interpretation case if it has not been formally requested by the applicant, town board, planning board, or if there is not an existing appeal of the zoning enforcement officer's decision, not to initiate our own interpretations or hear requests from other boards. The ZBA's primary function in interpretation cases is to act as an appellate body, reviewing the interpretation or decision made by our zoning administrators. In closing, since there is no pending appeal from our zoning enforcement officer's decision regarding this matter for interpretation to be reviewed, the ZBA cannot hear this matter. I thought we did request it.
No, we didn't.
Zoning board,
We didn't request it.
what's that?
We didn't request it. The applicant went on his own.
But we told them to go.
Yes.
We sent them, right?
Correct.
Yeah. We requested an interpretation. I thought I saw Hank here.
He's here.
There you go.
He's here.
Oh, there you are. Yeah, no, we requested that.
It seems that it wasn't a formal request from the planning board. It was a suggestion to him to go to the ZBA and request an interpretation of the zoning code regarding the issue before you. And then, had our board denied requesting an interpretation. So without a formal request from the town board, the planning board, or the zoning officer, we have no other recourse but to deny the request for an interpretation.
Okay, so can we make a formal request? Would that work?
Yeah, you have to make a formal request. By requesting that the applicant go before the zoning Board of Appeals
Okay.
is great, but if the applicant does not want to do that, lacking a determination by the zoning enforcement officer, we cannot hear the request for interpretation. It's unlawful before us. It's improper.
Are you saying you didn't receive a request from the applicant?
No.
Yes, you did.
No. I asked the applicant's attorney if he was requesting the zoning board of appeals to interpret the issue that the planning board was having with the use of the use of the,
We specifically want to know if that would be considered rightfully as an accessory use of
Right.
the hotel or not.
yeah, subordinate to the hotel.
Correct.
The motel.
Yes,
I call it motel because it's not a hotel.
you're correct,
And
yes.
I don't know what the difference is legally as far as
Uh,
litigating it out, but however, he said, we do not want the zoning board to interpret it. He said, as far as they were concerned, it was improper before us. And we agreed because we had no formal request. And he wasn't aggrieved by the zoning enforcement officer.
The applicant, I guess. I
The
thought-
applicant's representative, Michael Moriello.
Oh, Mario.
And,
Thought
you
you
know,
were clear on this.
Yeah, I thought we were.
we suggested that he do an Article 78 mandamus to the zoning enforcement officer.
I don't recall that suggestion being made.
Yeah,
We'll have to read the minutes. I do not recall that suggestion being made, Hank.
and he can do that either with the zoning enforcement officer or with the planning board.
Well, we'd like you guys to interpret it.
Yeah, just give us a formal request.
Okay.
What does that entail for
What
you?
would you like, can we vote on that now and make a formal request for you guys to interpret that?
Or does it have to be on paper?
Do you need a resolution? What is it you mean by formal request, I guess? Because I thought we.
I would say a written request from the planning board, from the chair.
All right, so we voted on it, I believe, right?
Where does it stand without this? Where do we
We
stand
have-
without it?
We remanded it back to the planning board. The
It's
process-
basically nowhere, just.
Nowhere, it's back by
Just
us.
kicked back to right where it was when we sent them there.
So what does that mean?
That's a fair question.
This board informed the applicant that without the interpretation from the zoning board of appeals, he could not move forward with your review of their site plan request. So that's where
The
you
whole thing's
are.
contingent upon whether it can rightfully be considered an accessory.
Okay, and if the applicant is not interested in doing that, what is our interest?
The applicant is
in-
interested in doing that.
Oh,
That's not what the applicant said.
The applicant approached the zoning board of appeals and asked for an appeal of this board's request for interpretation, and said barring that, they'd like the interpretation. At least that's what the paperwork said.
So they'd like
I don't understand.
to just get permission
That's me. You're not
or an
adding it.
interpretation.
Well,
essentially.
they're not requesting us to interpret.
I disagree.
They're saying it's unlawful before us because nobody's requested it. They're not requesting it. They say that the planning board suggested that they go to the zoning appeals board for an interpretation. However, the reason that they filed that brief was to ensure the 60-day process for the appeal. So they didn't want to, they wanted to open up that 60-day window to make sure that they appealed within the 60 days.
What are they appealing?
Right now, they're not appealing anything because they're not aggrieved by anybody.
They submitted an application for appeal of this board's request for interpretation of code.
They didn't appeal our
To the zoning
decision, they
board of
appealed our
appeals.
request for a decision.
So they don't agree with it, in other words?
Well, of course not, but we knew that.
I mean, they don't agree with our request?
Yes.
Okay, so then why do we want to make a request if they don't agree with it? What's it, I mean, it's to their benefit to move this along. If not having it means we don't move it along, then that's up to the applicant, I would think.
Right, it is up to the applicant to, they have
This is from the
certain
applicant.
venues available.
Would you like it?
Including Article 78 with the state Supreme Court.
It was sitting outside of my door when I walked into the building. If you'd like the applicant's thoughts on this, I'm sure it's contained in this document.
So can we read it first before we, do anything right now?
There's nothing for you to do right now.
Okay.
All right,
Outside,
So let's-
outside of the zoning board's desire for your official request for interpretation and whatever that means for them and getting that done.
I don't want to do that until I read what the applicant is saying.
If the applicant is not requesting clarification, then according to Mr. Williams, the applicant doesn't have any interest in the zoning board of appeals.
The applicant doesn't feel that they are required to approach the zoning board of appeals, but that's,
In other words, they don't want it to go in front of the zoning board. of
they don't feel
appeals.
that they should
I don't
have
think they
to.
have to. They think we should just approve it.
So they don't want a decision from zoning, the zoning board of appeals.
They don't want to even have to be heard by them.
Okay, so I don't see our interest in sending
Do
it
we
there.
have,
Because you've got a letter before you
Because
from the
they-
zoning board of appeals asking for an official request for interpretation.
By the applicant?
yes.
The zoning board is asking the planning board to make that request.
No, I got it that the zoning board is asking, but if they're asking on behalf of the applicant, and the applicant does not want it, I don't see why it needs to be requested.
It's for you all to decide.
Can we read that first before we do anything?
I think that's a good idea. I don't think we need to take an action.
We restarted this application, correct? They withdrew and resubmitted,
No,
right?
no. No.
I think we read the stuff they sent. If they want to be on next month's agenda, they could reach out to Grace.
Well, do we have a timeline we're up against here, though?
No.
No?
Have you had a public hearing on this?
Yeah, not enough.
Then
We
no.
started with one, that's what I meant, but then they withdrew and resubmitted after that.
That is not my recollection.
Okay, can we move on and go on?
We had public
I-
hearing. That's
I-
where we
we
heard
did.
from the neighbors.
We had a public hearing on it.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so that's got to hold until next month, I guess.
Did you ever vote on the application? We didn't vote, right?
No.
Because we thought it should go to zoning to get an interpretation.
No, we definitely didn't vote for approval of denial, no, for sure.
Should we vote
No.
at the
No.
public
No.
hearing?
No.
Okay.
All right. Um, We had a seeker public hearing on this,
Yeah.
right? No, that was Wellington.
Wellington.
Sorry, that was Wellington. Seeker public hearing on it. All right. Wellington Blueberry.
Hello, I'm Jan Jaffe. I'm one of the owners of the Wellington Blueberry. I'm here with Alan Dumas, who's our civil engineer, and with Kevin O'Connor, who's the head of RUPCO and our developer, and a few investors in the Wellington are in the audience. And we're here requesting a grant, that the board grants us final site plan and final special use permit approvals today. Our lawyer submitted a sort of a brief on this in July, and going over what we have. We've got the seeker approval, type 1 approval, and we also have the zoning variances that we sought. And so we're ready for you. Alan has a site plan. If you have any questions, we have the landscaping plan. I've seen them all before, but I realized that this is just one thing in the waterfall of information that you're taking in. So if you want to see anything again, we're happy to show it to you.
Do they have the draft resolution?
Yeah. We have extra copies if you need them.
The applicant's been very thorough.
Thank you.
It was a generally positive public hearing. I think I've heard all that I need.
Yep.
I agree.
I have no questions.
Has everyone had a chance to review the draft resolution? It's in the Wellington Blueberry file. Got Moriello's name on top.
There is, I should mention, Chairman, that we just want to make sure you have whatever is the most recent, what he said.
July 28th.
Now, I have a copy that addressed a few typos in that was dated. I don't know how it was transmitted to you, if it was transmitted, but it's got a few typos corrected to me. It's basically the same document, this is just why when you sign it. I believe Mr. Moriello would have transmitted to your office.
Bear with me, there's a lot of here.
I have not received an email
Did
from
you
Mr.
get
Moriello
this?
since August 6th.
You don't? Okay. Yeah, we don't have it. January.
What are you looking for?
He said there's an August version of the draft resolution.
I was never provided it, so you don't have it.
I believe you want to clarify a few typos.
The latest one we have is July 28th.
Do you know what the typos
Yeah, he
were?
said
Yeah,
there's something
there was,
after that.
there was a typo saying that the sewer, on page 8, the sewer, a final sewer approval would be by DEC, but it will be by DEP.
And then the other one was.
On
I
page
think it was
2.
Page 2, there's some pagination issues as far as which drawings you had reviewed.
So,
And I believe they're correct in the version I have.
because you had seen the landscape drawings, and I think that wasn't in the
Yes.
first draft.
Would you mind approaching Alan and let us, we're not going over this
That
stuff?
way you just take a look at your page 2.
Right, we could just,
Yeah, I don't,
yeah, we don't want to.
we don't want to kick this out of the
No, I get what I believe is he said.
What page you on?
Two.
Engineering, all right, engineering plans, existing conditions plan, site plan, selected alternative, site plan and details. Then architectural,
That'll appear on the page. 3.
Yeah, so it is landscaping.
so you move landscaping to
Yeah.
architectural.
Yeah,
And exterior
because the
lighting to
architect is
architectural.
responsible for landscaping.
So basically everything
ID
FSC
moves to double I
I brought 5 copies.
architectural plans.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, great.
The second thing was, as Jim mentioned, was DEC versus DEP.
Yeah, that should be.
Page 8, you said?
This is not July 28 now, this is a newer one?
This one that Mr. Moriello.
I see the changes.
This is what happens when the planning board doesn't have a quorum and they can't meet, and then everybody goes back and looks at the documents again. So it was a good thing, thank you, you brought that.
I could grab one more.
Yeah, I got it. Hold on.
I told
Where
it.
is it here?
The DEP? New York City DEP.
But there was also,
So you need one?
this is mine, that's yours. It was down here, DEC, line, page 8, section B, subsection 4. Here it says DEC instead of DEP.
Yeah.
This one. Now, NYSDEP.
It should be MDC.
Right, because the city is DEP. So the S is the problem.
No, before it was DEP.
C, which is NYS.
P, but the issue still is that.
I got it. They got this, they got the P right, they got the S wrong.
Right, those were the two issues that Mr. Morial talked about.
So what should it be? New York State?
In New York City.
I got that in mind.
I guess you got the right one.
I got that in mind.
No, here, New York State DEC, this has to be changed to New York City DEC.
Oh, it's right in one spot and wrong in the other spot?
Yeah.
And that was my recollection, that the two issues were action approval and
Can I borrow a pen for a minute?
The second
I left mine in the car.
corrections, these two minor corrections that Mike made. He did the same.
So no change to the cover letter of July
Except for that.
28th, but the
Yeah.
attachment is changed, so
Yeah.
I think we just need to put today's date on this.
And, no, and he dated it at the bottom, the approvals, because once we,
With-
it says August 22nd,
Where?
and the approval.
On the last page?
Last 3 pages, yeah. Everything is signed.
Gotcha. On the 27th, they
Yeah.
closed. Thank you.
That's what happened, we changed the date, and then we said, wait a minute, we just saw this in this.
So if somebody's ready to move the adoption of this.
Ready?
I'd like to move that we accept this as written and make this our written resolution for the dwelling.
Second.
Clifford Buffalo,
Yes.
Joanne Cal,
Yes.
John Horn, Alan Shiner.
Yes.
Sam Spada.
Yes.
Vivian Welton.
Yes.
Juan Rosales.
Is it possible to get a copy today?
Did they, how many did they give you?
We gave you 5 copies. so-
Can you sign 3?
Jen?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Need it signed?
yeah, yes,
Here. Here's mine if you want. You need another?
You need 3 copies.
Yeah, you guys keep
And
one.
we need 1.
No, I just need 2 if you're
You
doing
need 2,
this.
we need how many? 1. Yeah, I mean, there's only.
I'm happy to have it bound and put in a book, or, we've gotta write a book or something. This is,
Believe me, it's not gonna be a book, it's a script.
I don't know what I'm gonna do when I'm not typing Wellington
No,
on
I
an
know.
agenda.
Well, listen, you don't have to worry about it, we're doing a script.
And I
There's gonna be a movie.
Oh, good.
was asked to bring 3, but I said there were 5 just in case.
You know. You know.
You don't need to say those for next year.
Too many is
And
better.
then just in the good news and the possibly good news, the Wellington Rupco received a grant from the county as a part of their Housing Action Fund. It was just announced. So that's really nice. That gets a little closer to our capital stack. And in October, we should hear what Congress is doing. Both Senator Gillibrand and Representative Riley have recommended us for $1.5 million in grants. I don't, we wouldn't get both, but maybe we could negotiate between them, if that happens. But we're getting closer.
Good luck.
And I should mention that the items on the conditions of approval that talk about going to other agencies, those will all be worked on.
Those are all the standard things,
Especially-
highway,
Stormwater.
stormwater, just moving through all of them.
Make quite a bit of progress on that.
Sam?
Great.
Thank you
Start
all.
on that before your approval.
Yes,
You have to-
and Vivian second.
Yeah, I hope you'll come to the groundbreaking
We will.
March. I'll let Grace know, and we can have a field trip.
Hopefully the ground
All
is
the way
thawing
to
out in
find
March
out.
for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Joyce isn't here to sign.
Can, Olivia, if it's certified,
She has to sign it. That's
all right, well, you'll get it to me.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She'll be here tomorrow.
okay,
Next.
thanks.
There's a page on the motion too in there.
Yeah, I'm
Has to
doing
be
it.
filled out, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, she won't be here on Friday, but tomorrow. Yeah. No, half day, but Joyce won't be here. Yeah.
So next up, we've got Paul Hilton. Who's?
Good evening.
All right.
You can, I don't know how much good it's going to do without those signature. But if you
We'll
want,
send it to me, I'll print it out.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I'll get it to you tomorrow. I'll let you know.
And the larger copies of.
You came to our last meeting,
Yes, the workshop.
or workshop.
Yeah,
Okay.
a workshop.
I think this is a sketch plan conference, I believe.
the guest got it.
No, no,
It's not a schedule.
but he came to a workshop. that's why.
Yes.
Yeah, so we just have to, look over everything. Yeah.
See, there were basically no actions other than to reappear.
Yes, no, it's over
With
here.
a larger,
Yes.
yes.
All right, everyone. Should we look over the seeker, the short form?
He's converting an existing garage to a guest cottage. Or he'd like to convert it.
This is in the floodplain? Sorry? It's in the floodplain?
Part of the property is, but the structure is not, to my understanding.
I just saw that.
I think right along North Street Hollow Road, down, within several feet of the road is considered a floodplain. That's why we built it the way we did, actually, get it up high. I have the larger copies if you'd like.
Anybody see anything on the short form that needs to be addressed?
No.
So the septic system is not built yet?
The garage is not connected to the septic system yet.
But the septic system is
It
built?
was redone for the house only with a new holding tank. It's not built. The garage is not connected to any waste lines.
Right, but, so that's a 3-bedroom septic?
Yes, correct.
Well, I would put a tick in the box in number 14. I think you could always tick the box for forest, to really move on. This is mine.
Okay. That was brought up last time. Thought it would be taken care of.
necessarily, but that's not a this month problem.
I'm gonna bring that dog up here for these meetings. That's what I'm gonna do. I can't listen to him
No.
try. It's
Nobody
breaking my.
Anybody's any further comments on this?
I'm fine.
So we are at,
September 10th.
anything else?
Not yet.
You guys, 6:45, Mark?
That's a
6:45.
Wednesday?
It's always Wednesday.
That should be fine.
All right, I need a motion to set a public hearing for 6:45, Wednesday, September 10th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Any actions on my part
No.
between now and then?
No, everything's fine. There'll be, the septic will be a condition when we move forward, assuming nothing.
It may
comes
be
up in the
approved by
public
then,
hearing.
for all I know. It's in progress.
Okay, that'll be great.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Eckert Campbell.
First on the list.
I mean, do you want to be reminded first?
It don't matter.
It's next.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eckert. Everybody have the,
You got it.
The big ones?
Yeah, we can check.
Mr. Eckert, his property line is quite close to his structures, his house, and he wants to improve his septic system, and in order to do so, he needed some more property. Mr. King agreed to convey him a triangular piece of property of his, so that's what you'll see on those maps.
Sorry.
It's okay. That smaller piece of property is Mr. Eckert's. And you can see how close the property line was to his house. He would like to purchase that 0.46 acres from Mr. Campbell, which he agrees to do, so that he can put a septic system in, a better one.
So, Don, below here, this A, B, C, D, that's unrelated to this?
The other parcels.
Yeah,
Or that's up here?
we're just talking about this right here. This property, selling this piece. This piece.
Yes. And this is 125 residential,
I believe so.
Yes.
so both lots, bigger and the smaller one are both well above.
Correct.
The total's 2.194?
Pardon?
Yes.
The total acreage, the new parcel will be 2.194, bigger?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Campbell owns the 10 acres, and he's selling off the 0.46 to Mr. Eckert, so that he can put the septic system in. So we show the line that's to be deleted, and the new lines there are solid.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah. No questions or comments?
No.
Yeah, all right. Motion to approve the lot line revision.
So moved.
Second.
I'm sorry, who made the first motion?
Sam. Sam and Vivian.
Okay, Cliff Rebuffo?
Yes.
Joanne Kell?
Yes.
John Horn? Alan Shiner?
Yes.
Sam Spada?
Yes.
Vivian Wilson?
Yes.
Juan Rosales?
Yep.
2 weeks.
Mr. Ramondi.
Mr. Ramondi owns 58 acres on Silver Hollow Road. His property has always been divided by the road. There's a house on both sides of the road. He just simply wants to make them separate parcels.
I don't have that.
Parcel on the north side of the road is 17
I don't have that folder. What
9
color?
acre, basically 18 acres. Parcel on the
Oh, I
south
see.
side of the road
Thank you very much.
is 40 acres.
40.
And each lot already has an existing house, septic well. So should be another no-brainer.
This is not a lot line adjustment, this is a subdivision.
It's a, yeah, I think it's a pretty simple one, but we still need to, we're gonna set a public hearing, and,
So this was all one lot, and now it's 1 and 2?
Yes. It's always been considered two, but legally it's one.
And there's gonna be a road agreement?
That's a
Silver
Silver
Hollow.
Hollow Road.
Don, are any of these lots, I'm looking carefully, it says we got an R3 and an R5. Is any one of the two lots bridging across a zoning district?
You see the zoning district line is on there. Right there. And here's 5.
Okay, so this lot is all R3,
Yes,
and this lot will be part R5 and part R3.
correct.
And the house is in which part? In the R3.
That's there.
this lot's to the bottom.
Is that connected on? Yeah, that's all on R5. Oh, no, you're right, you're saying the same R3 here too, you're right.
Yeah, but it's irrelevant.
So, as a matter of fact, both of the new lots will be partially in R3 and partially in R4. Motion for public hearing?
Looking at, look over the short form.
Do you want any of these maps?
I'm sorry?
Do you want?
No, you gave me a Mylar for that one, so I can ask him to sign it tonight. Did you bring one for the other lot line?
No.
Do we really need a public hearing for two? Yeah,
Even as straightforward as this one.
Right.
We're gonna set a public hearing for this one as well.
Right after the other?
How many we got going on that night?
Just that one, so I thought. Wednesday, September 10th work for you? Need a motion to set a public hearing for Wednesday, September 10th at 7 PM.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have to approve the short names for both of these previous projects at the next meeting.
Is it required that we get this large size map to work on?
Yeah.
That's what they require? Okay.
On the bylaw. And they need upstairs and record of this.
That I know, but I mean,
Of course. Yeah, but it makes it easier for us to see.
Okay. Verizon Wireless?
Send your communications to people.
Thank you.
No, take your time.
August 21st, is this where we are?
Yes, that's where we are.
Want to walk me through this?
Would love to. So Scott Olson for Verizon Wireless. You know, we were here in the spring, we spoke about the initial proposal, which was a 195-foot tower with a 4-foot lightning rod at the top. It required height variance because under your code, the maximum height is 180 feet. So we went to the ZBA. You may have heard the ZBA, without providing a written decision or anything, denied the application. So instead of challenging that in court, spending the money, we know that there is support for this within the town. So we decided to kind of regroup, work with the county and see how we could approach this to proceed in a lawful manner, but still end up at the same place. And so we came up with a solution, two alternatives really. But you may recall that Verizon Wireless only needs a tower about 170 feet or so. You know, we can, that's what we need. So we are proposing to, well, we revise the application to build a tower to 175 feet. We don't have to go to the ZBA for that. The problem with that is the county can't use the tower. It doesn't work for them. You know, we provided the information in the application that they must be above 180 feet. So there are two ways to approach it. I don't know if you're familiar with the County of Monroe balancing test, but it's a test that was basically reinvented in the 80s by the Court of Appeals. And it's a situation that can apply when you have two municipalities involved. You're the host municipality, Shandaken, but the county wants to basically perform a public function by putting antennas on the tower. So when you have that situation, two municipalities, there is a provision or process by which you can waive zoning for the county because it's a municipal purpose. It's the County of Monroe test. That's a 9-factor test. I didn't provide all that information, the test in there, because we want to talk about it with you to see if that's something the board is amenable to. It is perfectly lawful. Verizon Wireless is a very conservative company. We would not propose something that is not lawful. I'm sure the county, and Dennis Doyle is here on behalf of the county, and the county wouldn't allow us to move forward with a process that's unlawful either. So it is lawful, it's been sanctioned by the courts, and it's one alternative as to how we think we can get this done. I think everybody knows it's very much needed. And I put in my letter, there is kind of a second alternative, you may be aware that if you have an existing tower, the federal government has, well, Congress has enacted the Middle Class Tax Relief Act, basically. And while wireless has nothing to do with tax relief, they put some extra wireless provisions into that act before they approved it. And what it says basically is if you have an existing tower and someone wants to put their antennas on it, they can raise the height of the tower pretty much automatically. So if you had a 165-foot tower here and anyone, if T-Mobile came and said, we have to be at 185 feet, you can't deny it. It's in the law. You know, you could review it. You have 60 days to review it, but it has to be approved. That's another way to kind of approach this. If the planning board were to grant approvals for the Verizon tower, then you can consider that as an approved tower. You could then consider the county's request to go higher. And clearly the county has a public purpose. They're trying to upgrade their emergency services radio system. So I think those are two possible alternatives that you could consider. Either way, you get to the same spot if the board is, you know, willing to approve the application, basically. So, and we're happy to walk you through it further if you decide, if you're interested in doing that, and we can give you a lot more information on the County Monroe balancing test. You know, it's a basically 9-part test. It's relatively easy to go through, but that's what we thought of because we know we need the tower. The county needs the tower, so we wanted to try to put our efforts into doing that instead of litigating against the ZBA.
The balancing test is not something this board can do, the town board would have to handle that?
I think this board can do it. It's not clear on who can and can't do it. We feel that we've done it before with planning boards.
Okay.
We've done it before with town boards. It really depends. We did it with a town board once because the town board had jurisdiction over special use permits. So I believe that the planning board can do that. But, you know, obviously that's something that you have to feel comfortable with.
May I say something?
Yeah, go ahead, Sam.
Well, this is still going to require, this still is too close to my property it still needs a variance. Because regardless of 175 feet, they were seeking a 55-foot variance in which unless they've done a revised site plan, their property lines are incorrect. So 175 feet is still going to encroach on the property, so it still needs to go in front of the zoning board. It does not meet the setback.
What do you mean by the property lines are incorrect?
Because I know where my lines are, and the proposal in their application that they've submitted shows my power line on the neighbor's property. That's not so. There's not been a physical survey done, so if they're going off GPS, satellite, or whatever they're going off, there's pins in the ground. There's physical pins in the ground.
Okay.
They're obvious, and what they propose is inaccurate.
When you were here last time, I remember you said that you felt that this was actually your property.
I don't think, well, their proposal is to use my power line for the tower. They're showing that my power line is on the property in question for the proposed tower.
Right.
This is inaccurate.
I'm just trying to get clarity, because I
So, and what they've submitted for the site plan shows approximate property lines. So until there's an official survey done, I don't see how anybody can question anything on any height.
I hear what you're saying, but I'm just trying to clarify.
Yeah.
Last time you were here, if I recall correctly, you thought that the tower itself was on.
I didn't think the tower was on my property. I did not.
You thought
I'm saying that their proposal is to use the power line that is existing. That is mine. It shows it in the proposal being on the neighbor's property. My line shows belonging to the neighbor. That is not true.
Okay, thank you.
So until there's a survey done, they're still too close, and it still needs to have the zoning board involved.
So that's actually not accurate because there are no setbacks for towers. You can look at the underlying zoning setbacks apply. I think here we're talking about 50 feet or whatever. There is a fall zone provision, okay? That is not a setback, but we have provided a letter from our engineer saying that this tower will be designed so that if it were ever to fail, it would fall within 100 feet of itself, so it would never fall on any adjoining property. So we believe that there is no need for a variance with this revised approach.
Let me ask you this, though, is your diagram, the thing you've submitted to us showing where the tower is that accurate?
Correct, yes it is. Yeah, we do, when we do these towers, it's a very technical, I think it's a 1A survey, so accurate to within several feet. So yes, we know where the tower is, and it is on where we show it on our plans.
What about the property line? You're saying the property line is correct?
You got a stamped plan here, I'm looking at C1A, sheet C1A. I see the property line labeled as approximate.
That's correct. And if you look at I'm going to check with our surveyors, because I believe the utility line issue came up, and I don't have a specific answer for that, but I believe they were out there looking at that to make sure that everything was correct. And they show it on the property that the tower is located on.
Which is incorrect.
It looks to me like there's two lines on the map, C1A, and one says existing and one says proposed. Am I reading that right?
Proposed overhead lines?
Existing overhead
Yeah.
wire and
Yes.
proposed lines.
That is what they're proposing.
Yes.
That's what they're proposing to use, saying that that line is on the property in question, which that's my line, and it's not on that property.
I see two on the
Yeah,
map.
so what it is I don't think this gentleman has seen the current plans.
You're not using his
No,
wire.
we're putting up a moving power line. Yeah, we were able to survey it, we're gonna put overhead powers up there, not using his.
This is a revised site plan?
It looks like,
Correct.
yeah.
Yep. And our surveys were out there, that's why it took a little while to get back, to make sure that it was where it's supposed to be. So no, we're not using that existing line.
Has the planning board reviewed the letter from the zoning appeals board in reference to the Verizon variances?
What letter?
We wrote a letter to conform with the 1996 Telecommunications Act. That was supposed to be part of the resolution from the zoning appeals board.
We didn't receive anything.
Because it wasn't,
Yeah.
you wrote that letter, but a motion and a second were never made by the board to accept it as a part of the resolution. So it's just a letter that you wrote. If you'd like to do that, we can put it on your agenda.
It should be on the agenda.
So you guys wrote a letter, no, you don't.
If I can, one more thing. Their original property started out, is back in play, that the county was going to purchase, and then they came up with this property, which is major effect to my family, my property, and my sole being up there. It's right off the end of my lawn. There's another property that you guys researched in the beginning.
Please, Sam, please address the board.
It was researched in the beginning over there. Those guys are willing to do something. This is away from everybody, this is up where it should be. I'm not opposed to towers, I'm opposed to the depreciation of my property and the position in which they're putting this in there and what they're doing, and the hazards to my family and everything else. There is other options out there. So to continue with this for the negativity to me is absurd. But there is other properties, there's other people, and for the proceedings coming after this, for the coming events to try to make this work, I have a lot of support coming for that. So I'll just say, there's a lot of people, he said there's people for this. I have a great number of people that are opposed to this, in which I am going to present to you.
So, we need to know if this property line is accurate or not. That's important. And where,
It's a state drawing. You get it, can you get an affidavit from the surveyor?
Yeah, I'll go back to the surveyor and have him confirm and provide that to you for your review.
so you're only, it looks like you're only about 20 feet off of it, so the tax map, that can certainly be an error if that's what we're
And I also just have one more, if I may, quick. As far as the push for the 911 for the county, I have EMTs, I have firefighters, first responders that are willing to come to the September 8th meeting and say that, and I asked them straight out, do you feel that the communications that we have now has ever jeopardized a life or will for the future? They said they have no problems with their communications. The officers have chest cams that goes via satellite. These guys said no. The area that they're proposing has no concern for what it is. They say when they get to the end of Oliveria, they lose things. So this is not an issue for 911. This is just a push for power.
I mean, we have licenses, we all know there's no service in the town. I mean, that's beyond reproach, it's obvious. We have federal licenses that we have to build out our system, so, I mean, that's what we're doing.
You said you need 170 feet, but you want 175.
We are at, well, I'll tell you where exactly we're at. And that's just for Verizon.
I understand.
Right. So Verizon's antennas, if you looked at C-3, we're talking about, actually the antennas will go up to 106, about 160 feet. So that's generally where we need to be, that ballpark.
So you need 160 feet.
Give or take, it's in the application. I wear whatever, but I recall 160, 165, the ARB engineer said this is what we have to have. And that's fully compliant with your zoning law.
That's it, and putting other considerations aside, just for the moment, our zoning says 180 feet max.
Correct.
So at 160 feet here, what's the county gonna put on top?
Well, the county's gonna be going, we're gonna be going up to 195 feet,
They're gonna go 35 feet above your 160.
basically, yes, give or take. Yep.
Pretty high.
Yeah, they're pretty tall mountains in this town. Yeah, that's what the problem is.
Which is back to variance.
May I address that?
Go ahead, Grace.
Just
Then you next.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just the fallback zone, because it's come up twice and before we lose it.
Yes.
Following a conversation with our town's attorney, if they can prove that the way in which the tower will fall is not going to fall on lines or disrupt anybody else's property, that meets our requirements for the fallback zone. They've submitted a letter from their engineer ensuring that that is the case. It is my opinion that this tower, as presented, would not require a setback variance based on the fall zone.
Well, that's not what the zoning code says.
That is what the zoning code says, actually.
Telecommunications Towers.
That is actually exactly
You
what.
said it's in your opinion.
No, there's no setback requirement in the
It's a
telecommunications
full
towers.
zone. Most communities,
Yes, and I'm
a full zone of 2.5
This
times
stuff.
the height of the tower.
Yeah, but
This
there's,
community only has 1 times the height of the tower. And you shoehorn it into a residential neighborhood
kidding.
where they should be in.
This is not-
municipal properties.
you're not the code enforcement officer, I appreciate your opinion. We're a permitted zoning district. So again, we didn't decide what zoning districts are permitted for these, the town board did, and neither the ZBA nor the planning board. You could all hate it for whatever reason. If you don't like the zone it's in, that's completely irrelevant, because it's already been decided, this is an appropriate zoning district.
Can we not,
What?
can you
The town board,
control?
when they enacted their town law.
I think this has been, I mean, Grace is the zoning officer.
Sure, sorry.
Dennis, please say what you've been.
So I have a couple of handouts. One would be the tower handouts we want to pass. I don't really have enough. The other one has to do with what we call the grant of immunity under the grant of immunity under the Monroe case, which you just mentioned. And this takes you through essentially those 9 factors that come under the Monroe case. And then last but not least, I have a handout that gives you essentially a proposed resolution from the planning board. I was hoping to have this discussion in front of the workshop the other day. That's a proposed resolution. The county has done this in 3 other locations, actually multiple locations, both for towers and for some of the other structures that it needs to build. Effectively, the relief the county is requesting is the relief from the variance provision for the height, and the relief because when you look at your telecommunications statute, the telecommunications statute doesn't define public safety and radio. It basically defines commercial wireless facilities. So we want to make sure that when we look at a proposed use, that the proposed use, which the public safety radio antennas, is consistent with your zoning statute, and you can grant that immunity. The question was asked here before in terms of who decides, and when a zoning statute is silent on who decides, the court cases that we've seen are basically says that it's up to the community to who decides. We've seen planning boards decide, we've seen zoning boards of appeals decide, we've also seen town boards decide as well. But it's the decision of the community. Since you were already reviewing this under the Verizon proposal, we thought it would be expedient for essentially to the planning board to continue to look at this. You've actually looked at what's been proposed, with the exception that now Verizon has changed their zoning, their application to only go to what is permitted under the statute. Does that give you a sense? I would want to address the comment that essentially there's adequate coverage for emergency services. We look at the need for towers in Shandaken, and we have an absolute positive need for additional emergency services. Motorola has confirmed this with respect to looking at our coverage maps. When we look at that, we had looked at other sites in the town in and around the Phoenicia area as critical to making those connections work. We are currently looking at a site in the Pine Hill region, again, to make sure that those connections work. We have a huge need to essentially make sure that those connections work. And we're also in discussions, quite frankly, with New York City DEP with respect to the use of their lands for some towers as well, not necessarily in Shandaken, but certainly on the other side of the line. So we're looking really hard to try to make that case that we have adequate coverage here. I would also say with respect to cell coverage, over 95% of the calls to our 911 center are cellular in nature. So first responders can't know where to go unless somebody calls them, and the way people are reaching that 911 center now is by cellular communication. Any questions?
Would this be 2 separate actions? If we were to go back to the application being revised so that it wouldn't require the zoning variance, we could easily go to that, yes. But if we were to decide to do this as a board, would that be a separate action, or would it be in addition to the...
I would think that it would be a separate action, but I would like to offer one suggestion. If you're going to hold a public hearing on Verizon's this application, I would ask that you dual notice the public hearing. They're also holding a public hearing on the balance of public interest tests. If you look at what's required under the balance of public interest test, one of the first things that's out there is essentially a requirement that the community have an opportunity to be heard. We think that the way the court cases read, that the best way to do that is through a public hearing. So I would dual notice that. and you can see on the resolution that I presented to you, an opportunity at the end to essentially schedule that public hearing, and the county would be willing to appear, obviously would be willing to appear. The other thing I think that is really important is to understand that when you're looking at the county's application to go higher, you're not looking within the zoning statute itself, you're looking at the 9 factors that are in front of you. Do we have the power to go higher? Is there a public need to go higher? If you look at those 9 factors, you're not going through that testing that you would have in your zoning statute for all the other things that are out there.
You're looking at like 150 feet.
Mr. Olson, could you speak as to number 5, alternative locations for this facility in less restrictive zoning areas?
There are no less restrictive zoning areas.
And were there other locations?
Because there are, and unfortunately, I apologize, my larger Redwall file has been missing in action. It's been somewhere in the office, so I don't have my application with me. However, I do know for a fact that there's a site selection analysis in there, and that was completed by Aerosmith Development. And as part of that process, it details the methodology of how we chose the site that we chose. It starts first with the RF engineer saying, this is the area, generally a circle, it doesn't have to be, but this is the search area. So that means it's the area that we have to be in to accommodate the need. And then the site selection specialist, acquisition specialist, goes out to the area, canvasses it, looks at the zoning. I work with him or her to explain what the zoning is, and they look for potential alternatives. So I'll give you, when I find that document, we moved recently, switched offices, so there are a lot of boxes. Having said that, I'll find that for the next meeting to explain exactly how many alternatives we looked at. But it's in your application, which is a book like that, exactly.
Somewhere.
Do we want to schedule a public hearing? for
Yeah,
this?
I'd like to hear from Pete also as a representative of the town on this. Would you mind coming up, Pete?
Pete? Not the other Pete, you.
I'd just like to hear what the town board, how the town board feels about this.
Well, we haven't all spoken. We haven't all spoken each about it, but we all want a cell tower in town. There are some places better than others, of course, and it's always going to affect somebody.
Sure.
Where is that going to be? I mean, no matter where it goes, somebody's going to be affected.
Not true. Less effective.
Agreed.
But we need better service. Is this the best place? Do we want to drive up 28 and see it right there? I mean, there are so many factors, and we're all positive about a cell tower being in Phoenicia.
Maybe we can ask the other board member that is present.
Can I ask Peter a question first? Do you have an opinion as to whether or not it's appropriate for this board or the town board to consider the Monroe County test?
Either or. I mean, you could refuse to do it, but I think it's appropriate. You have been in this longer than we have. We've been watching from the sideline. But it really is appropriate for you to do it. But if you pass, you can vote to pass on that and pass it on to us.
And also, this tower is in scenic byway, and that's something that should be considered.
Yeah.
And Robert Drake is the liaison for the scenic byway in the town.
If I may.
Yes, please.
I think they should be made to reconsider their first property because that's open and they're willing.
So I've spent approximately about.
Maybe go and find out.
Thank you, everyone. I've spent approximately about 3.5 years attempting to bring cell service to the town. I'm of the opinion that it was part of my remit and frankly part of why I was elected to the role. Having done this, I have spent a few hundred hours, I think is probably a safe estimate, reviewing locations, both in some cases in partnership with the county, and in other cases through my own resources, contacting Verizon, contacting our other tower companies. I've looked at probably 1 to 2 dozen parcels, including the parcel that I believe Mr. Umhay is mentioning, which is the one that is fairly close to the Phoenicia Water Tower. I believe it is owned by Vigen Enterprises or Vigen.
And they're willing.
Now, I've reviewed that particular parcel, and there are fundamentally 2 or 3 challenges with that specific parcel. There is a covenant in the parcel, which the owners are willing to remove. There are also covenants held by the surrounding parcels. I believe there are 5 surrounding parcels. I attempted, as I believe the county did, to reach agreement with those surrounding parcel owners, and candidly, after about 18 months, we were not able to identify a responding owner in at least one of those cases. So there were adjacent owners who were willing to at least verbally indicate removal of that, but others who we were not able to make contact with after, again, roughly 18 months of attempting it. Additionally, having spoken with one tower company, and unfortunately I don't recollect their exact, I could go through my notes, but there was a tower company who indicated some concerns with that parcel, that the best location for it would be candidly quite close to the Phoenicia Water Tower and would present structural risks to the Phoenicia water supply. And so ultimately they did not wish to pursue any sort of tower engagement on that particular parcel, unfortunately. So while it maybe had limited neighbor impact and there was a limited owner, there were both some legal complications in the form of these covenants and deed restrictions and concern with the Phoenicia Water Tower, which is of course directly adjacent. So I've also looked at other parcels. Mr. Umhay's parcel was one that was reviewed, as well as, of course, this parcel that is being considered here. While I think cell service is deeply important for me personally, I think the emergency radio is of a particular concern. In this area, within Phoenicia, within Phoenicia, the area that is covered by this tower, the emergency radio service is relatively robust. But in Pine Hill, it is not. In Pine Hill in particular, it has a number of challenges. Pine Hill Fire Department has regular reported challenges there. And you noted that Dennis had mentioned that there was an attempted tower ongoing on Bel Air. Well, it has to connect to something. And so the line, as my understanding, is that Pine Hill would connect to this tower, which connect to the emergency radio on Mount Tonchi. And that it's the necessary connections between those that make the siting so difficult, and are quite frankly the reason behind the 199 feet request. It's not so that it can go further around here, it's so that it can connect to Mount Tonchi and to the future tower on Bel Air and the existing tower on Bel Air. That's my understanding of it. It is my belief, and with the fullest respect for Mr. Umhay, I recognize that this has a deleterious impact on your parcel and on your family, and I want to be very cognizant of that. But in my evaluation of this, this is the only viable project for this, and that if it is not able to go forward, it is probably the realistic end of cell service or improvements to emergency radio within a 10 to 20 year span. I mean, there's simply the amount of effort that has gone into this and then the limited number of sightings. I don't see a realistic alternative. And I realize that there are a lot of challenges on that, and I respect your time and diligence in reviewing this, and I hope you spend as much time as necessary to really work through things like the survey locations and all the details that Scott will provide on the siting, or already has. To your question about who should do that balance of public interest test, you have the documents in front of you, so you are in some ways the most obvious entity, but we also, I think, recognize that the town board is the town board, right? And there are obviously more direct, we'll say, political consequences to its decisions. And I think it is the responsibility of the town board to perhaps take those on. So my personal preference, and I'm not going to speak for Pete, absolutely not. My personal preference is that the town board would take it, that we would be the ones to perform the balance of public interest test. I don't know whether that's a relief or not. And again, I suspect there will be 4 board members who would maybe dislike my take on that. But my sense is that this absolutely should be a public conversation. It needs to be a public hearing. It needs to have as many people responding to it and discussing it as possible, both those who believe that this is deeply important and those who believe that it has an inordinately harmful impact on Mr. Umhay or others. Noting that it is, of course, in a scenic byway. There are no legal restrictions associated with the scenic byway. It has no legal impact on this whatsoever, but that doesn't change the fact that it is a lowercase scenic byway, right? It is a pretty place to drive, and folks don't necessarily want to see a tower. Does that equal the safety benefits that would come from this? Frankly, my concern, having looked at innumerable flood maps and larger bridges, our emergency alert system, having discussed this, my concern is the flood we've never seen. And so that is why I am fundamentally hoping to assist this project and to assist public conversation about it. I hope that's of some assistance. I'm, of course, happy to answer any questions that I may.
You know, Robert, you mentioned covenants on properties. It's my understanding through Grace had conversations with the town attorney that the town cannot and will not enforce covenants on properties.
I think
It's not in the purview of what the town can do.
Well, we might not be the enforcers of it. I nevertheless think we have a fundamental necessity of respecting them, and we would not be a party to this. This would ultimately be, of course, Verizon and the county, and I don't believe that, or other tower builders. And in my conversations, one, of course, it still was too close to the water tower, but also they were not willing to take on the legal risk of anyone else enforcing those covenants for that particular parcel.
Why is it too close to the water tower?
Because it's right next to it.
Do you want to have it here?
They're deeming that they can put this anywhere and it's not going to be safe.
I think this would be touching it.
If they fell on it.
Well,
What about our part?
I don't believe that there-
Don't we have to have
a,
which comes first?
that we
The
did
public
not
hearing for
insurance
our
risk
part of it, or the?
Okay, that close to a water tower.
Private homes other than that.
You gotta check with the attorney.
It wouldn't be, it's not my place to speak for this individual. He said it was just a water tower.
That's different because I have Shandaken.
So we're all on the same page. She cannot keep minutes like this.
No, that's
She can't, this is unacceptable. She can't keep minutes like this.
Too many conversations.
If you would like me to provide any of that as a written statement to ease your minutes, I'd be more than happy to do so.
Okay, I got
We're
what
fine.
you said, Robert. Yeah.
They're just complaining.
So sorry. I believe, sorry, Vivian may have a question.
If we, since we haven't decided whether the decision on the public interest is ours or the town board's to decide.
Specifically, it's the balancing test.
Right, the balancing test. Who would be hosting the public hearing then? Should we have the public hearing before we decide or after we decide?
Go ahead.
It's two
May I-
separate things.
Yeah, Grace was.
Also, as a part of the conversation that we had with Ben Gailey about the fall zone was a conversation about the balancing test. It was, at that time at least, Ben's opinion that the town board
Yes.
should take on the balancing test.
And when you look at that balancing test, you should actually look at the case that it came out of and review the case, not just what came out of it, like the 9 steps.
Grace, you said that our attorney recommended that the town board do the balance test?
Correct.
Okay. Want to make sure I heard you.
Yes.
And I know this is a fundamental question, but we're only having this conversation because our current zoning allows for cell towers.
I don't think I understand.
Yes.
It's an allowed use.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
If our zoning were to change before the next 2 dominoes fall at Pine Hill and Bel Air,
It's actually not quite that simple. There are laws that overrule our zoning laws, that even if we didn't allow for telecommunication towers, people would still be allowed to build them regardless of that. Even if our code, even if that is absolutely true, and I can't fight with him anymore.
Okay, so what's the next step?
That's my understanding.
The next step then would be, I think we send it to the town board and see if they agree with the balancing test at this location, this tower, as proposed, rather than doing the short and then the bigger one, as proposed in that spot.
can we do that at this point? I mean, there's nothing to balance. There's no base for that tower.
We need that, the first step is we need that property line verified. So we know exactly where it is, and make sure that the lines aren't on the adjacent property, because they are very close in that.
Agreed.
And make sure that, I mean, the tower looks like it has some distance.
But until we got something approved from Verizon that says they've got a tower in a specific location to a specific height, the county can't ask for it.
Right, so if I may,
Yes, please.
you could proceed with our application, the Verizon application. And it sounds like, now, I would like the board to do both of it, but it sounds like you're gonna refer this to the town board for the county portion of that. But that doesn't mean you can't schedule a public hearing for the Verizon part of the tower and proceed with that. And then, because actually that's what you would have to do if you intend to refer it to the planning, to the town board. Because like you said, the town board is gonna need something to work off of, and that would be the initial application that is compliant with the zoning. So, and I'll have information on the survey. We're gonna make sure all the stuff we do is legit.
But I would ask that it be the lowest practicable height.
What
I would ask
he
that
said,
Verizon put it for what, I think Verizon should only ask us to approve the minimum that they need for their function. If that's the 165 or the 160 feet, I was looking at the diagram, I know it's a center line dimension there, but whatever that minimum is that's proven by the documents that they've done. If they can do it lower, I'd love to see it lower.
Can I ask to what end though? Because
Right.
they would
It's
still,
unsightly.
hold on, but they would still need to, the county will still want the elevated tower, 180 to 190. So what, they could ask for 179, 180 if they wanted.
I don't think that Verizon carries water for the county. I think the county has to come to the town board and say, we want a 50-foot tower on top of a 100 and whatever foot tower. And that's the balance test.
And that can happen under the balancing test, that's totally fine. But I think we're proposing a 175-foot tower. I'll talk to Verizon about, but I agree with you. If the town board goes through with the balancing test, it's not gonna matter what you approve. So,
Right.
But part of that balancing test is going to be for the county to demonstrate that they really must absolutely positively have the height that they're
Right.
asking.
And we did that, we provided the Motorola information in the original application. That's,
The
but that's so
application
great.
had the county something?
It did, yeah, it had some propagation plots.
So why don't we,
So the question before the board right now is, can we set a public hearing for the Verizon portion? We're waiting for him to confirm the questions we had about the property.
yeah. Let's set the
Yes.
public hearing.
Yeah.
how about the fall zone?
The fall zone
I've addressed the
is the
fall
fall zone's been addressed by the zoning enforcement officer, yes.
Okay,
Okay.
Somebody would have to appeal that.
so
decision
can we
for that
have
to
it the
go.
same?
Feel free. Outside of that, I don't believe you've had a public hearing for the seeker on this either. So be careful in the language. You're wanting to set a public hearing for the seeker and for the approval or for the public's opinion on the 175-foot tower. Is that what we're,
The Verizon tower only, correct?
as presented in the most current paperwork?
You want
Right.
just the Verizon and not the whole thing, and then they can just add the other things, it sounds like.
You live in front of the town.
Well, it seems to me that it's gonna be the same tower anyway. It seems unlikely the town board is going to decide not to say no to the county if we've approved Verizon.
Yeah.
And I would feel
I
more
don't even
comfortable
know if
just
they
having
can.
one hearing
Yeah,
for one tower.
yes, I agree, it should be the whole thing.
See, I disagree. I think elected officials need to weigh in on this test. We're not elected, we're volunteers.
I'm not saying that the town board won't be making that decision. I'm saying that if we have a hearing, it should be on the final product, I would think.
Well, the town board is looking right now to undermine the whole zoning code and the process of variance.
Wild language.
Yes, I think because,
That's wild language.
Because they want on September 8th to amend the telecommunication tower verbiage to grant exactly what Verizon wants, 199 feet, and
They're
also
allowed to
away
do
with the
that.
fall zone.
They're the town board, they're allowed to.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying that all of these discussions could be a moot issue.
Okay.
6,
All right.
7, or 8.
Get control.
They're gonna give Verizon
Let's, all right,
exactly
that's,
what they want.
thank you, you've been heard. Let's set a,
Can I just, one thing?
one thing, yes.
I agree that if you're gonna hold a public hearing, even though our application says the tower of 175, you may want to include it for seeker purposes
Thank you.
to the one night, just, it doesn't mean that you have to approve that or anything, but just so that no one can,
Informational only.
that this is a potential, what could happen, we're considering it.
Yeah, we
Agreed.
want to be transparent.
No, that's a very good point.
But the town board has to make their decision on the basis of what they hear at the public hearing. I mean,
Yeah, but that's gonna be a separate public hearing.
Yes, Dennis, go ahead.
I just wanted, thank you, and I don't want to belabor the point, but I just want to reinforce what Scott just said. It would be, when we're talking about expediency, one of the things that we're really concerned about is that if we separate them out and we hold one secret documentation relative to a tower that's proposed at 100 and X feet, and then another one for another secret requirement for the next one of the things that would happen with that is I would suspect that the county would want to take lead agency with respect to the seeker as it relates to its own, because the town board doesn't have a lot of experience in that, and we're looking at a balance of public interest test. So the idea of doing this, particularly since you have all of the work done already on the tower of the height that would be needed for the county, the idea of essentially having the public hearing and considering seeker on the entire project rather than separating the two of them out is really important, and it also has to do with some of the segmentation issues under seeker as well.
Thank you.
So we have two separate hearings on the same night together, or, I mean, or one for secret and
One,
the site
just
plan?
one,
Just
one
one.
hearing, yes. One public hearing,
September
November 10th
10th.
at 7:15 until
Until all night.
Don't schedule anything
How
else.
comfortable would you feel helping me draft that? Noted. It's totally fine. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Let's make it 7:05.
Yeah, because the other one's going.
The other one's gonna go fast.
What's the second
Okay.
one?
Oh, it's a subdivision.
Sorry.
7:05. That's
I know it's
okay.
weird. All right, we need a motion for that public hearing, please.
I make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All right, please have that.
Thank you, and I'll have that information in advance.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Next. Who's next?
September 10th.
Who's doing Ralph Comby?
I see you're confused, so I'm coming back on the county board to straighten your head out.
You have to stay
Yeah.
Mr. Brewer.
What's that fellow's name from the, what the hell?
Got some more math. Here, Alan.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And another.
First he told us, don't send me anybody
One more.
to make decisions. First he told us not to send anybody to him.
I think we need to circle back to that tonight.
It's brand new.
This is the addition of the last.
Yeah.
Slightly over, Joanne.
Would be better if I read it right side up.
Okay,
Oliver, you're up.
this is what's left over of the Comby property. We had sold the majority of it to Urban Cowboy Resort. So Ralph owns 17.7 acres His father had a lot there, 3.4 acres, and he wants to make a boundary line adjustment between the two. Basically, it's just to help with the access to the trails he's got there. So he wants to take 0.191 acres off of the 3.4 acres and add it to the 17.6 acres. So you'll see it there.
It's becoming small.
Yeah.
But it's still above the 3 acre.
Yeah.
It's only 1.5.
So 1.5, yeah, zoning, yeah. And he's also clearing up the right-of-ways and stuff like that on this map.
This is uphill off of
Yes,
Olivery Road.
very uphill.
Where does senior,
The septic's
which
down
house
there.
is senior's house?
Oh, there you go.
A smaller lot.
And who's the other house?
Ralph Jr.
Oh, that's Junior's house? Okay.
There's nothing.
Any questions, comments, issues, concerns?
No.
No.
All right, I see nothing. I will take a motion to approve this lot line revision.
So moved.
Second.
Chris Rebuffo?
Yes.
Joanne Cal?
Yes.
John Horn? Alan Shiner?
Yes.
Sam Spada?
Yes.
Vivian Welton?
Yes.
Juan Rosales?
Yes.
Do they have a good road agreement there?
Yes. Yep.
I mean, that's already, that was already an issue if it was an issue.
Yeah, it's already in the deed.
Okay.
Waiting for a determination on the other job, which I can sit down.
The workshop, he's here for the workshop as well, so if you're ready to start that.
I mean,
No.
No.
What do you mean, no?
She wants to go home.
Just to get to the executive session, don't we?
Yes, we have to do interviews.
yeah, but the
Do you want to
workshop,
deal with the workshop first, so that people?
but workshop doesn't have to be a separate thing. It's just an informal, yeah, so yes, go ahead.
I just need a determination.
It's still a regular meeting.
This is an odd thing where, if you've seen the mailbox there where the Baptist camp used to be, it's the Dark Sky Hospitality. That's
Where
a
what used to be?
Baptist camp.
Oh, okay.
On 28.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's been a hotel since 1903. And even though the Baptist church had it listed as a religion, they used it as a hotel. You can see it on the internet, the people comment on their stay at the hotel. But we just need a determination, one, that it is a hotel, which you just have to drive in there and look at it to see. It's got 40 rooms. The new owners wants to just, 2 rooms, he wants an office, so that would leave 38 rooms. Now, the county has it listed as a hotel as far as the health department. They say they can have 72 occupancy of the hotel. And the Baptist church had bunk beds in these rooms, 2 sets of bunk beds in each room. So the health department said, so therefore you're only allowed 26 rooms, because that would be 72 people. But he's taken all that out. He's got 2 beds in each room, so that would equal 1.9 people per room for 72 people. So that's just the determination we're looking for, is that, yes, it's a hotel for 72 people, like the county says, but we want it to 38 rooms, not bunk beds and 26 rooms.
Well, how could they go by that, the county?
It's what I'm going by. So I was asked to determine the allowable uses on the lot, which was not as straightforward as it should have been. Yes, it's a hotel. Yes, it's a hotel. They've got 2 cabins and the hotel. So given the, information that I had available to me from our records and from records provided from Mr. Brewer, the allowable uses that I find in the letter that I wrote says that the hotel's a hotel, you're allowed a 26-room hotel. And then the 2 homes can be used for workforce housing. If they want to increase the number of rooms from 26 to 38 or 40 or whatever it is, I can't let them do that. That is a decision for this board to make.
How many, just a question, how many rooms are there again?
40.
Well, there's 40, but 38, they're looking for 38 rooms.
They're looking for 38 rooms.
For 72 people, like the county says.
Forget about the county. I'm thinking, what do they have now? Oh, they had much more because they had 4 in a room.
Yeah.
The county said that they could only have 26 rooms since they had 4 bunk beds in each room.
And the only reason it matters what county says is because I need, when I'm making this determination, to know how they've been operating prior to this new owner.
Yeah, and what about the septic system?
That's what the county did.
Everything is up to the standards. Everything's approved by the health department.
It's a lot of space in there.
Are you saying that there is actually rooms in another building that counted for the whole one, or is this all in
No,
one
they're all
building?
It's all in one building.
Grace, what are the issues you see that you need officially addressed?
If they want to go from what I can tell, the way that they've been operating is as a hotel. This gets confusing. The planning board issued a special use permit to First Spanish Baptist Camp in 2003 to operate a religious retreat.
Right.
There's little to no paperwork attached to that, and there's no definition of religious retreat. I can't look at that and determine what the use was. What I can do, what I did do, is look at what's available to me in those files, in our other files, and what was provided by Mr. Brewer. And it seems to me that they've been operating as a 26-room hotel with those 2 workforce housing units for the past decade. So if they want to do anything outside of that, I can't let that happen. That is for this board.
So you're looking to get 40 rooms?
38
rooms, 72 people.
Well, yeah, I'm saying the 72 people we agreed with.
From the county.
Right.
But instead of bunk beds, 4 bunk beds in each room, there's gonna be 2 beds in each room. So therefore,
Where did you get 26 rooms from?
72
Paperwork from
people.
Ulster County.
We want to accommodate that many people.
So the paperwork says that you have 26 rooms that are rented out. Forgetting about whether
They're allowed to use 26 rooms. How they reach those calculations, I don't know.
So they're,
We don't care.
I know.
Right.
so the documentation says they can only use 26 rooms.
Well, it was 72 people.
Forget about the number of people. The documentation says it's a 26-room hotel.
Well, the health department's concerned about how many people.
Well, that's different.
That's the subject.
No, that's different. If you're saying that the documentation says it's a 26-room hotel, so they must have used the rooms for other things.
The documentation isn't saying it's a 26-room hotel. The documentation is saying they can operate 26 rooms in the hotel.
With
Right.
72 people.
It says, definitely says
Again, I
72
think
people.
with 72
But you
people.
said-
Occupancy is.
I heard you say it was approved as a religious retreat, not as a hotel.
It was, yeah.
It was approved as a religious retreat, but I can't find any language in current zoning code
That's why they're here.
that a religious retreat is an allowable use at all. So I don't know how they got from point A to point B
Right.
and got that, and I don't know what that means.
But
There's-
regardless, I want to just make sure I'm understanding. It doesn't matter, because a religious retreat is not a hotel. A religious retreat is a lot more homogeneity of the group. They tend to follow the directions of people. When you got a hotel, very heterogeneous. People from all over, they may not be familiar with each other. So in terms of life safety, it's a very different thing, a hotel from a retreat. Does that make sense?
No,
No.
If you
Why?
check,
because
We don't have a definition.
Because it was.
it was used as a hotel for religious purposes. You got
The
20.
most recent use was as a retreat, it has it approved.
They
So
don't have to
before
pay
that, there was
taxes.
no zoning, so that
We
doesn't
can-
matter.
that's the whole.
And we can discuss this back and forth at the end of the day. I wrote a letter, and it was my determination that the current allowable uses in the main building is a 26-room hotel, the 2 work for housing houses, and then the thing in the back they have to deal
So
with.
26 rooms is an allowable.
So the town of Shandaken, through me, is saying that they can operate a 26-room hotel
And you're
there.
basing that on how Baptist camp use those.
How it's been in operation for the past decade.
I guess my question is, if it's been a hotel since 1903, and this came about in whatever, 2003, their thing. Why are we basing the decision on that? It seems to be that the Baptist configuration.
I'm not. I essentially at the end of 2 days of review of paperwork, I couldn't take that special use permit as a religious retreat into consideration when looking at the allowable uses, because our code doesn't define that. The minutes from those meetings weren't available to me, and the special use permit that was available to me that was approved was it was 3 lines, to operate a religious retreat. There's nothing there for me I can't look at that.
I guess I'm just saying, my point is, if the religious retreat is a deviation from the original hotel concept.
But I don't think it was. Given the way that they've been in operation, I mean, granted, it operated as a hotel only available to members of this congregation, of course.
Not really.
I assume, this is me making assumptions.
So to get a 38-room hotel approved, what's necessary?
For this board to decide.
That's what, is it a site plan approval, is it a change of use?
Sketch plan, no, I don't think no.
It's just a determination.
Because the number of people
Number of
changed.
people. Right.
Are all the rooms the same size?
Yes, I believe so.
So what did they use the extra rooms for above what they were permitted to use, the 26 rooms? They used all the rooms for sleeping? All the rooms had beds in them?
See, it was, a Baptist used it as a hotel. Now, you can see it on their website, you can see people's remarks.
Right, but I'm asking if every room was used for a bedroom?
I don't know.
We'd have to get the
They
lady from First Baptist.
They were
Baptist
said that, they were told they could only use 26 rooms. I don't know if they used.
Is he looking at changing the size of the rooms? Or
No.
So he wants to just utilize the existing 38 rooms
Yeah.
and
Wait,
lower occupancy than they've currently been doing, dispersing.
Right,
It's not changing the footprint.
right, I don't see.
It's not changing the
We're not
parking, it's not
changing-
changing the traffic
The
load.
building, the rooms are still there.
Yeah.
So the 26 rooms that they were allowed to use, they have 4 beds in every room? Are the beds still there?
No, he
got rid of them.
It's all new furniture.
They have a huge estate now.
It's all new furniture, 2 beds in each room.
I mean, we put this in the resolution, and that's what it is.
So Don, this is a workshop question, so you're asking what to come back with to us to allow us to take a vote?
I would like a determination of the fact that there's the same amount of people that are being, we're not gonna change that. We're not changing any rooms, except we want, put 2 beds in each room instead of
Right.
4 beds.
Can we just give them an occupancy number? I mean, what if,
Absolutely can.
right, well, what if he wants to eliminate the rooms, put 3 beds in one room, 1 bed in another room? It should be by people.
Yes, correct.
The occupancy.
Yes.
And the occupancy was 26 times 4. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's 72 people.
72 people.
72 people.
Existing structure, 72 people.
That's what the county approves.
Yeah, so,
Like you said, we don't care if he knocks a wall down between and makes it 2 queen beds in
Right.
a big room, like we don't care. It's
Right.
72 people.
okay, so what,
That's
does
the
he need
property
us to do that?
Yes, because the county only said 26
26.
rooms.
Oh.
Because of the 72.
We're saying 72 people in 38 rooms. They're saying 72 people in 26
Well,
rooms.
I wouldn't even put the 38 rooms in there. I would just say 72. We're approving the occupancy of 72
Approved as a
people.
hotel for 72 people.
With a maximum occupancy of 72 guests.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
That's what we're
That's a
requesting.
good way to put it, yeah.
Yeah,
Can you live with that?
If you look at the number
I
of rooms
love
and you
that.
look at the vacancy rate.
I love
that.
It could be one big
More
room.
than that.
Put everybody in.
On the
Let's all
roof.
sleep on the floor.
If anybody wants to go see it, I'm sure you're welcome to go see
You're
it.
not changing the footprint, everything's happening inside.
Right, except
Beautiful.
it looks a lot nicer now.
Sketch plan.
Yeah, I think so.
Yay.
Right, sketch plan?
Yeah.
So could they talk the county into accepting that since they've taken
Yeah,
out?
County's none of our
I
business.
mean,
I don't care what county does.
The county already said 72
She
people.
doesn't care what
They
county.
just, I'm saying, there's 72 people, okay.
Yes.
No offense to county, I'm not trying to be mean, but I
No,
personally
we
don't
care, I mean, we care
I
about the
know.
septic load and everything.
And septic is approved for 72, you're saying?
Yeah.
And up to date and everything else?
Yeah.
Not like Urban Cowboy? Septic doesn't work?
Interesting.
Okay,
We have a sketch plan,
Right, right.
yes.
No, this is a meeting, we do this now.
Yes.
Oh,
I know Grace said workshop, because this was going to be a workshop tonight, but we're at a meeting, we can vote.
Workshop issues.
We can
Okay.
make this leave now,
Maybe go away
which
now.
we should
We
do.
love you, son. It's not you.
Motion to approve for 72 guest maximum.
There you go.
Yes.
So moved.
Terrific.
No, all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
I think you're done with me tonight.
Oh, God, thank you.
For tonight.
So hang on, before we move into executive session.
Is there anything else here?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything from Bel Air Plaza?
Oh, yes, thank you for reminding me,
She has such
Joanne.
fantastic news.
Yes, so
Oh, yeah,
I received a letter from the NYC Environmental Protection. Dear Mr. Gujar, Tariq Gujar owns Bel Air Plaza. This letter is to inform you that your application to engage in the above referenced regulated activity pursuant to the rules and regulations for the protection from contamination, degradation, and pollution of the New York City water supply and its sources was approved on August 25th, 2025. The determination and associated conditions are enclosed, and copies of the approved design drawings have been sent to North Engineers.
Wow.
2 years it took them?
It took them that long.
Oh, the gas station.
Yeah.
Oh,
It just got
Up in
permission
Pine Hill.
after 2 years.
They got this, what do they call it?
Does he have anything significant, what he has to do?
The switch.
Yeah.
That affects the project? Is there anything?
2 years ago.
Does this decision affect now the
No, no,
project?
is there anything in there that he has to do that would change the
No.
way
No.
we approved it?
No,
No, it was just it was a requested update from us, that's all.
exactly. Yeah, so again, their approval.
Great.
Yay.
Very good news.
Very good.
Show, yay.
You
Yeah.
can buy, you'll be able to buy milk at some point.
She makes the meeting. She can look there and show everything.
I need gasoline tonight. Is it gonna be ready?
But I want it now.
But, this was
You want it to
sent
wait?
today, I'll send it to them.
What is that?
This is the thing you started our night with.
Wellington?
Why, what's happening now?
After they hold their executive session, they'll come back and with a recommendation, and then they'll have to close, so yeah. And you've never done it, but if we could make sure the audio's off.
Yeah, it's not live.
I would be grateful.
Will you turn us off?
Check the cameras off.
Is that now?
No, he's got something he wants to say here.
Okay.
I'm afraid.
Oh, I'm eager to hear, actually.
I just want to make sure, I'm going all the way back to the beginning of the night, the letter from Leeway. Does everyone now have a copy of this thing?
Yes.
Well, no, they're right here.
Oh,
No.
no, we don't know.
Wait, the ZBA one or the?
The big one.
I
Those.
guess they're
Is it all the same?
related.
Yeah.
Could you pass those out, please? There was no representative from them here.
I want to
That's
pass out.
correct.
That's an option.
I can
We'll still
pass
have
out.
a quorum if you pass out.
You have one?
This is a litmus test for our interviewees if you are still here.
If you want to stay here.
Picture of what the planning board can be, actually. This is lovely. I love
There's nobody here.
We should just look it over. I just want to make sure we're not going to run out the clock on something and just turn into a.
There's no, at this point, there is no running out. The only time you run out the clock, in my opinion, is once you've opened and closed the public hearing. If you close the public hearing, those 62 days are gone anyway. If you left it open, then that's a non-issue. We have to review the minutes to figure that out.
This is implying that you're the reason.
Correct.
Oh, yes, this is heavily implying that the planning board has intentionally delayed this project, blah, blah.
We do have the option to vote on it tonight.
So
Under what circumstances do you have that option?
Do we have a
No.
public hearing?
No, we can't.
Have you voted on the seeker for this? Have you closed the public hearing? Have you?
That's my question. What-
I don't know the answer to those.
Okay, I read it.
That was good. Can you read to me?
Could you explain it to us?
I'm having you come to my office.
Okay, so
He read the last page.
Are we online? Are we live?
Yes.
Okay. So, in general, he's saying that we're listening to what the people say, and what they're saying is wrong.
Yeah.
Right, but we have the ability as a planning board, I mean, that's why we're here as human beings, this is not something that's exact. The planning board must evaluate whether the proposed use meets several key factors. The project should be harmonious with the district's development goals, the location, size, nature, and intensity. So we have to make a value judgment. We're not just listening to random people. The people live nearby, and it has an impact on adjacent properties. It must not impair the value of nearby land or discourage appropriate use of adjacent areas. So if I believe that the project impairs the people who live in the area of what they had before, which was a residential area, and so we can make these value judgments. And I'm going to vote no when it comes to my turn for 116-39, grounds for denial of this project. And I'm not listening to what people say that they feel, and I believe them, that this is not like any other use. And here, he refers to other buildings that were not, other companies that are doing the same thing. Nobody else, I don't know, has a tented wedding, a temporary tented wedding site.
No, that's accurate, they do.
They do where?
Oh, yeah.
Where?
Foxfire does them almost every weekend.
Foxfire.
Full Moon Resort, there's more up there.
Full Moon is tented?
Yep.
Well, it used to be.
They have buildings, but they do.
Yeah, they don't have people right next door, do they, in Full Moon?
They do.
They bought all the properties.
They complained when they first opened.
Yeah, when they first opened up, and so they bought everybody out.
Not everybody.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you gotta think too, yeah, Full Moon is quadruple the size of this little motel.
Yeah.
Right,
You know,
right.
I
Demon
will
Big
say that I
Indian.
can find no evidence of Foxfire Full Moon, anybody listed in Mr. Moriel's letter, or this letter I've not reviewed, but I assume it's the same people. These people that are operating event tent weddings on weekends, I can't find any evidence that this planning board ever approved that use. Most of them seem to have been permitted directly by the building department. Please don't ask me how that happened, I don't know.
You mean the existing tents?
Foxfire has a bunch of temporary event tent permits in their file. I don't know how those got issued. When Henry opened the pavilion, he used to do everything under that great big tent that was out there.
Right.
That tent itself never got approval from this board. When he built the pavilion in its place, I can't find any evidence that that use was approved by this board. There are permits for these things. Nobody is operating outside of the building department's purview. That is not what I'm implying at all. All I'm saying is that this board, to my knowledge, and from what I can tell, has never approved this kind of use. So I don't know how relevant bringing that up is to this current conversation, and certainly not for me to say.
So you're saying that we can't, since we've never approved the tent before.
I'm saying that this board has never set a precedent that these types of uses.
So then why is he coming to the board? Why doesn't he just put the tent up?
He'll tell you it's because they're trying to do the right thing. It's in the letter. I'm not saying that those
Well, I can't
uses shouldn't
approve
have
it.
been approved by the board. They should
I
have.
wouldn't approve another tent. The tent is to sell antiques that's near me on 28. They're still there,
Mr. Athanasis, yes,
right?
Yeah.
We never approved that,
I know.
right? Does that make it legal?
No?
You'd have to review the file, how he dealt with that violation.
So that was the Lagard saga. Let's not get too far.
I don't.
No, it's the
think
same
that's
thing.
really
A tent,
the
in our code, a tent is a structure.
Yeah, I don't
And the
think
structures have to be
whether
approved.
other people have it is the issue we need to address,
But, yeah,
because we weren't involved in.
so when you get a speeding ticket, you go to the court and you say, the guy in front of me, I was just following him, he's going 100, so I'm going 100. You can't give me a ticket? That doesn't work.
So the question is, I think, do we just let this sit, or do we need to refer it to the zoning board officially like we tried to do already once?
I think the reason we were going to defer to the zoning board is because we felt that we did not have the jurisdiction as the planning board to make an exception for them. But since they're not asking for an exception because they claim they already have the right, I think we have the jurisdiction to tell them we're not making an exception because we don't. That's not in our purview.
We're going back to the zoning board, his letter to the zoning board.
It was my understanding, regardless of what Mr. Williams heard, it was my understanding that the application to the zoning board of appeals submitted for leeway by Mike Morella was to appeal your referral to the board, stating that they didn't feel the request for interpretation was accurate, was something that you had the right to do.
It's like I can.
But he's saying in lieu of
Barring
that.
it was my understanding that they were asking for that interpretation.
They were saying
Perhaps
either-
I misunderstood?
No, that's what I saw. They were saying either throw it out and say it's not necessary, or give us the interpretation, basically.
And ZBA instead remanded it back to this board to ask
say-
that you formally request an interpretation of code.
I feel like whatever happens is it come back to us, and I don't see why having a ZBA opinion would be sort of detrimental to us. I understand your rationale, Vivian, like if they're not asking for it, why are we? But I feel like what does it hurt us to get their thoughts on something?
We did already ask for it.
Yeah, no, I know, but like, to the extent that he wants some.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, this is something we've already asked for, just not officially. I think we should.
So putting ZBA aside, what's on the table right now? You mentioned there's a secret thing that we didn't vote on? This was a secret filing as well, or not?
Everything that you review is secret. You changed this from an unlisted action. At the request of the applicant, you guys changed the secret status from unlisted to type 2, which requires a review. You changed it from unlisted to type 2, and I believe decided to do an uncoordinated review. Again, somebody would have to, it's been a minute.
Yes.
Somebody would have to look at the minutes. You've determined secret status, you've not held, I don't know, have you held secret public hearing? I don't know, but you've certainly not voted on it.
No, we haven't, no.
We did not hold a secret public hearing.
I think we should go through our procedures, do that.
Why?
They want to put this stuff in a floodway?
Before we can step forward, because if it can't be deemed an accessory use, it can't be done.
Which is where you're stuck.
That's where we're stuck. And we were asking for the ZBA, you were saying we didn't know if it was considered rightfully subordinate to a hotel or not. And that's where we got stuck in this feedback loop.
But without that being resolved, we could still vote on whether we feel it is an appropriate use under our zoning code. Which
You've already
doesn't-
stated that
it
you don't know
doesn't
whether or
allow
not the use is
for
allowed. How can you do that?
Determining whether it's beneficial to the community or detrimental.
No, we can't.
You've already publicly stated that you don't know whether or not this use is allowed by code. How can you vote on a use if you don't know if it's allowed?
Because we don't have to know that if we
Of course you do.
deny
You
it
have-
anyway.
Is the first step to determination whether or not this is an ancillary use?
Yes.
Is there anything that prevents us from making that determination?
You're not allowed to make that determination.
Then why do we, if we're not allowed to make that determination, why does it come in front of us?
This is the process. We say, it comes before us, we say we can't do that, ZBA, is this allowed? And then they say, and then with that blessing, so to speak,
So does this-
then we can.
So does this need a motion that
Okay.
that the applicant has come to us for an action
You're,
that is outside?
Vivian, you want to act on the first part of their letter, that they're saying, we don't need an appeal, and we're saying, yes, we do. Or the appeal, we don't need a ruling, we don't need interpretation. And if they just said that and walked away and were like, we're done, this doesn't have to happen, then we could say, well, then we can't do it, we vote no, but they also said, or give us the determination, and the zoning board said no, for whatever reason.
This is the way I see it. If we wanted to approve this project, we would need clarity on whether it's an accessory use.
Yes.
If we didn't want to approve this project, it wouldn't matter.
we need grounds to not approve.
We would have grounds on other issues that have already been discussed and brought up by Alan and by other people, including the letters from the community, which do bring up issues regarding the flood danger, which is very significant. And the applicant is the one that asked for the secret review.
No, the state of New York is the one that asked for the seeker review.
I thought the applicant, I thought I remembered the applicant coming up here and asking.
The applicant asked that we
to
change the type of action, not the review
Well,
process.
that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
The only seeker public hearing we've recently done is for the Wellington. And the applicant, the same lawyer, requested it for that project.
Okay, so what do we need to do
I
with the
think we need to
secret?
officially send this back to the ZBA. I don't know what that.
I don't know what that looks like.
I heard a letter.
Yeah.
They asked for a letter from
request.
you. Yeah, from you, the
An actual
chair.
The
request from
applicant
the
is saying
planning.
he doesn't care. We are saying, perhaps as a board, we
Yes.
want it.
Yes.
But that's the distinction.
Yes.
Yes, you're right. The attorney has not sought it.
I
We're
think we should
saying
have a
maybe we
motion. I think we should have a motion that we have determined as a board that we do not have the, what's the word? The authority to make a determination on whether or not this is an ancillary use. Such determination can only be made by the ZBA. Move that the ZBA,
We send them a request,
Make that determination.
yeah, to make that determination.
so that's my motion.
Can you put formal in front of request, please?
Second. Okay, so in the case that the ZBA says yes, it is,
Then we move forward.
then we move forward, and that nothing has changed. If they say no, it's not, does that end it there?
Can I ask one question here? It says the ZBA has determined the project shall proceed with planning board review. Did the ZBA send us anything?
No,
Did not.
No.
the ZBA wouldn't have the authority to force you
That
to
didn't
continue with
happen.
review, and they didn't actually say that. That's nonsense.
Right, so that's not true. Yeah, and what's gonna happen next when we do that is he's gonna file a lawsuit complaining they've already scheduled weddings and they lost revenue. And they lost revenue.
That's early.
Right,
I've
so,
already scheduled a 4-month vacation. I'll see if I can get it done this time next year.
It's their risk not to have
If I may interject, that was board member Spada that made the motion, and Juan, you seconded.
We need to vote on it.
Yeah, did you ask
Roll
us?
call.
Yeah.
All in favor?
All in favor?
aye.
Every time
We
you guys do a
formally
roll
say
call, I
that.
have to type
Can
the
we,
resolution.
can we make it, in this letter, can we say exactly what they want, what we want them to? we
I will
did
draft
that?
the letter, I will provide it to Cliff, and we will figure it out from there. But it will be very clear in the planning board request.
And so there'll be one, like, specific thing we want them to review,
Yes,
spelled out.
made incredibly clear.
Okay, thank you.
And depending on that response, we can then actually vote definitively.
I'm sorry?
Well, then we would continue with the review. Yes. We could then, if they say no, denied,
Yeah.
then we could say, well, it's not an accessory use, therefore we cannot approve. Or if they say it is it's a variance, or it is an accessory use, then it looks like, then we still look at the character thing, or, we approve it, or whatever. a normal
He's
review.
gonna sue us,
A review,
L'Oreal.
well, the whole, a review process.
Huh?
Yeah,
He's gonna sue.
In my mind.
you know,
Okay.
we
No matter
get
what.
sued individually. You know.
All right.
So these are,
Okay.
they're going to move into executive.
Yes.
These are
Now,
Resolution.
are we all ready to go into executive session for the interviews?
Yeah, but I have to leave. Oh, shucks, I'll come back when you're done. You guys should wait outside, I'll probably wonder.
Interested timeline as alternate.
All in favor?
Wait. We have to finish, because Chandra's your liaison.
She's going to be both.
She's what?
Let's do vote.
There's no requirement that she choose.
She just can't vote on Shandaken stuff.
She's gonna recuse herself on Shandaken.
Could you do us a favor, Dee, and get the DVD on before you...
Oh,
You gotta do it over.
we gotta say,
All right, makeup.
I have to remember what I said, though.
54 Main Street.
54 Main Street?
Yeah.
Oh.
The guy just,
But that's-
I opened a letter that my iPhone was out. Is it, do we have to make it officially again?
Yes,
The thing that
so
went
it's recorded.
So the planning board voted on the 2 applicants, and we selected, we would like the town board to approve Chandra as our replacement for John Horn's term, and Tanya as our alternate if she would like that position.
Tanya Stapleton.
Tanya Stapleton,
Yeah.
thank you. And
What's next?
adjourn.
Oh, yes, I thought you were holding something there.
Like you're eager.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I didn't vote on that.
Stay there.